If you're applying to med school, chances are you might have to write a secondary essay or maybe a few secondary essays. So today I want to tell you a common med school secondary essay prompt and give you some ideas for thinking through how you might want to consider responding to it. First, hi, my name is Dr. Sarah Kleeb, and I'm an admissions expert at BeMo. So today, the med school secondary essay prompt that I want to talk about is this. Briefly describe your single most rewarding experience. I love this essay prompt. It's a bit different from some of the others. We see a lot of questions asking about adversities that you've overcome, limitations you've overcome, failures you've had to deal with in the past, lots of negative things like that, or things that we tend to think of as negative. You don't have to answer them in a negative way, and we've talked about this in some other videos. But this one wants you to talk about something positive, awesome, amazing that's happened to you in your life, something that you really felt was rewarding, gratifying, and something that hopefully made you feel really good and good about yourself. So this will give you the opportunity to reflect on that. So just some things that you might want to take into consideration. Definitely, you can be strategic with how you answer this question in terms of what experience you draw on. Hopefully, somewhere in your history, you do have a single most rewarding experience, and hopefully it is related to something relevant to not necessarily the practice of medicine, but the kinds of values, qualities, etc., that they're looking for in aspiring future physicians. So, if you wrote a paper that got published and that was something that you found really rewarding, awesome, great. If you gave a great presentation or put together a solid research project or were acknowledged by a superior or something like that, or if you did some, really meaningful volunteer work or a medical mission trip or something like that, those would all be great. Note that your single most rewarding experience doesn't have to relate directly to the practice of medicine or even to school. What you want to think about is the kinds of qualities that they're looking for and how you can demonstrate that your rewarding experience was connected to those qualities. So, as always, especially in the United States, you should be referring back to the Aamc core competencies that reflect on the different kinds of qualities that they want future med students to have. So things like dedication to teamwork, collaboration, desire to be in the service of others, demonstration of your own resilience, adaptability, dependability, and things like that. So look through those, see if any of them sort of align with a rewarding experience that you've had, and use narrative as always to discuss why that was rewarding in that particular way, what you got to contribute, what you got to demonstrate, what you maybe learned about yourself that was particularly rewarding. And, I mentioned things like having a paper published or receiving sort of accolades from a superior or something like that. And those are sort of formal expressions of things that we would consider, rewarding. But it doesn't necessarily have to be something in which you were sort of evaluated by others and got validation. That's one route that you can certainly take. But if something was simply personally rewarding or fulfilling, that's perfectly fine in terms of reflecting back on it. What matters most is that you are reflecting on those qualities. And I mentioned the Aamc core competencies. If you are in Canada and you have to write a secondary essay, the Aamc core competencies are kind of, valid across the board, but in Canada, there's also the CanMEDS framework, which describes a number of different roles that physicians fill or can fill in their practice and in society. And so you can use those to reflect as well. Things like being a scholar, being an advocate for others, and so on. So again, same idea. You can line these up with the rewarding experience that you've had. Now, one quick word of caution on this, and this is a word of caution anytime you're talking about your own successes, things like that, is to just remember to maintain a healthy dose of humility. You don't want to come off as bragging. You don't want to come off as full of yourself. You don't want to come off as someone who thinks they already know everything or things like that. That can be a big turn off for the evaluators of these essays, and that sense of humility, that openness to continued improvement, continued learning, etc., are some of the values and qualities that they look for in future medical professionals. So by all means, if you've done awesome things, talk about them, let them know. You should be proud of your accomplishments. That's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But note that, of course, everyone else who's applying is also likely rather accomplished, has had a number of awards, rewards, acknowledgments, accolades, etc. I'm sure that you're awesome and have done awesome things. Most people who are applying to med school are awesome and have done awesome things. And that's great, right? That's kind of part of what you need to have in your larger repertoire in order to be a competitive candidate. But just remember that you're also human, and that the process of learning medicine, learning to be a physician, is a process that requires a good dose of humility. If you don't think that you have anything left to learn, then you're not going to learn. And being a medical professional or a professional of any kind means going through a constant process of learning. So it's never a process with an end. So while you absolutely should be proud of your accomplishments and discuss them, don't make it seem like you think that your learning process is done. It's not, practically speaking, and just sort of for the sake of acknowledging that you always have the opportunity to continue learning, growing, improving, etc. So I hope that you enjoyed this video and that it was helpful. If so, please do go ahead, like it, share it with a friend who might benefit from it. Be sure to follow us on whatever social media you're watching this on right now. If you'd like us to help you, click the link that should appear either above or below this video to see our programs and schedule a free initial consultation. We'll set you up with one of our admissions experts to answer any questions you might have and get you started on your preparations. We have programs to suit any of your needs, and we're always happy to work with you to determine which plan is going to support you and your goals most effectively. As ever, thank you so very much for your time. Take good care, and I'll see you next time.